everybody, and welcome to another episode of the LoudCasa Talks. My name is Nate, alongside my good buddy Omid.
Hola, amigos and amigas.
Are you in the Casagrandes mood or something?
Yes, and it's going to be for obvious reasons you're about to see later on. Bye.
All right, so definitely a pretty awesome week we had this week because we had a new episode of the Casagrandes. Actually, on Monday was a new episode, or a special as you call it. Operation Dad, which we will discuss later on in our recent news. But anyways, how was your week overall besides that?
My week overall was fine. Of course, the big thing we got to talk about is football. Let's talk football.
Okay. Since we have a Super Bowl coming up next week, and you know who's coming to the Super Bowl, right? From your local Bay Area team.
Yes, Nate's aforementioned favorite team ever is going to the Super Bowl, and we just want to say congratulations, Nate.
Thank you. I would have to say the 49ers are now in the Super Bowl. We're back again. After 7 years of being crap, we're back in the Super Bowl, and I'm very happy again to be a fan of the 49ers and, to root for them definitely on a Sunday where, I'm a huge fan of football. You are a huge fan of football. So.
Yeah, and of course, I am not jealous at all. I am not jealous at all.
Okay, so another thing, too, is that your Raiders did move to Las Vegas. So.
Yes, we did. Are you still
going to be faithful even if they left the area?
I'm always going to be faithful no matter where they go.
So, Las Vegas Raiders. All right. So
they could go to San Antonio. I would still be a fan.
Really? You would go to Texas?
No, but I would still be a fan of the team.
What's so great about dumb old Texas?
What did you just say?
Okay, we're not going to go all the way to SpongeBob memes. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and go on straight to our recent news. Alright, so recently the newest vlog came out on YouTube. Vlog 7 had Lincoln and Ronnie Ann comparing each other's families with telenovelas and superhero movies. First up was Lincoln when he made up some hero names for Ronnie Ann's, Casagrande Familia. First up, Bobby defending the Mercado, Ronnie Ann, obviously going with their skateboard, and Carl loving trains, so he's like a big superhero of trains. Which Casagrande hero actually do you like the most?
Well, for me, it's got to be a toss-up between Bobby's alter ego, the Mercado Man, and Maria's alter ego, the Midnight Nurse. Because I feel that these two, in their own respective fields of work, Bobby for store business and Maria for healthcare, they do show how they are the most hero-like of the bunch for me. While all the others do have creative names, and they do fit in their respective roles. I do feel that the Mercado Man and the Midnight Nurse really stand out to me as they have the most creative names, they have the most colorful costumes, and they do show through their hard work that they have amazing work ethics. And that's what makes them stand as the most hero-like to me.
Nice. I actually was surprised with Maria with having the Midnight Nurse all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like Midnight from My Hero Academia, but she's not that hot. I like how Lincoln really portrayed every Casagrande to what they like. So, for example, see Maria when she was a nurse, you saw Frida being the artist, one of those camouflage people. I actually do like that little costume that she has.
I love it. It's cute.
Also, Carl loving trades. You also have Carlota being the fashion girl that she is. So Lincoln always has been into comics and stuff. So having this translate to what the Casagrandes have, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see that. And it kind of makes me want the Casagrandes to appear in their superhero costumes and somehow cross over with the deck.
So we want to have a full Ace Savvy movie with actually having the Casagrandes in there too.
Sort of like that, like an Ace Savvy cinematic universe. Maybe. In a way.
That's going to be a huge... You're going to have a lot of superheroes there though. Also, we want to flip the script around. Ronnie Ann actually would do the same thing with the Louds, having each Loud have their own role in a telenovela. So Lincoln being the superhero, Lenny being the fashion designer, and Luna being the lone star looking for fame. How did you like each of their roles in the telenovela?
Well, I think it was fascinating to see the Louds in something you never really know, and you never really expected them to be in a telenovela, which is actually pretty fascinating. I also like how Ronnie Ann immediately knows each and every one of Lincoln's sisters, because it really does show how Ronnie Ann truly values her friendship with Lincoln to the point where she knows his family very well, and the same goes for vice versa when Lincoln gave the Casagrandes their own respective heroes' names. So it really does show, like I said, the bondage between Lincoln and Ronnie Ann up to the point where they know each other's families very well. Now, some of my favorites are Luna as the artist looking for fame. No bias, no bias, no bias. Lynn Loud as the Lucha Libre champion, since Lynn really is into Lucha Libre herself, as shown in Space Invaders. And Luann as the long-lost sister who ran away to join the circus and became a juggler.
A juggler.
Yeah.
I would have to say, though, that's a pretty cool role what everybody has. Like Lincoln trying to compare with everybody to what Ronnie Ann, what she does to try to compare everybody with a telenovela role. And now it makes me want to think about how telenovelas run. So maybe one time we'll have to actually see how telenovelas are.
I actually want to see a full-on episode.
Actually, I want to see, though, if Ronnie Ann ever dreams of something. Adios, there she'll be that main lead character.
Yes.
As soon as you see an episode of that, though, I mean, if you saw No Show, that telenovela looked pretty cool. I mean, Ronnie Ann even agreed with that, so
that'd be fascinating.
yeah, if they had something like that, I would be into telenovelas too. So, so yeah, definitely awesome roles there. Would you love to see them in a superhero movie or a telenovela?
Well, as for the superhero movie part, it's clear that I am a fan of superhero media and superhero pop culture. So with that, of course, I would say yes, 100% yes, I would love to see them in a superhero movie. As for the telenovela, it'd also be very nice as well because we get to see an inside look as to how the Louds would thrive with their situations in a telenovela.
I would say I would love to watch a telenovela. I mean, I may not know what a telenovela is. I know it's a lot of drama, but that's what most shows are with, dramatic shows everywhere. Mm-hmm. So seeing the Louds having their own little drama twist. Yeah, I mean, you see the Louds, they're always funny, but having them in a telenovela would actually be pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, because it'll show that you could put the Louds in any situation, and no matter what situation they're in, they would still make it work.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty much the first half of Vlog 7. But they also did try to answer some questions that the fans have been asking. Quote-unquote fans. I don't think that's actually what they asked. But they did have some questions that we can actually want to try out, too. So, the first question that they answered was, what do you have in common? So, let's try to answer that ourselves. So, what do we have in common? Actually, we have quite a lot, right?
Well, let's just say if I were to list all of the things we have in common, absolutely everything, we would go past the 2-hour mark. Not one.
We have way too much. We have way too much in common. Okay, go ahead. List out some things, because I will probably agree with all of them, what you say.
To keep this brief, I'll say that we are both big fans of video games, anime, movies, cartoons, sports, well, watching them anyway, and all sorts of pop culture jazz. We even have most of the choices from these respective types and forms of media that we mutually enjoy ourselves.
Okay, so on that little point, I do want to talk about what we like. I mean, we love the Loud House, obviously, and the Casagrandes.
Of course. What do you think we're talking about right now?
Okay, so we also do love the animes that you've mentioned, like My Hero Academia, Cowboy Bebop. There's tons. I mean, I'm looking at your room. There's tons of animes that you already put up.
My room is a pop culture focused room. It's pop culture room. So,
you got a Gretzko right on your sofa too.
Let's point out each and every single one.
I know. I mean, yeah, we can keep on pointing out every one of them, but we're gonna put a lot of time. You are a fan of cartoons. I mean, Rick and Morty, Gravity Falls.
Definitely
makes sense. We are totally fans of video games. You're apparently still playing Overwatch. I'm kind of off it right at the moment.
I've always been off of Overwatch, honestly. I haven't really played in a while. I've been playing other games though, of course Super Smash Bros.
Yes,
Ultimate.
We both play that too.
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Okay, I have to catch up on that.
I do too. I do too.
Look, that's a very long game. I've already heard a lot of spoilers, so that's gonna be interesting. But the other thing that you said was sports. We're not even fans of each other in sports here.
Well, that's why I said we don't play them. We just watch sports.
I know, but we're not,
for the most part,
I know, but
we are pretty conflicted in terms of sports teams.
There was another question that was also asked. Who would win in a cook-off, Abuela or Lincoln's dad? That's actually a really good question. Who do you like better, Abuela or Lynn Loud?
Now, while they both are excellent chefs in their own right, And of course, they have their own entrees, such as Rosa with her tamales and Lynn Sr. with his lasagnas, for example. Now, I'd have to say that Lynn Sr. would win because he has a wider variety of dishes and entrees that he cooks himself, as we have seen throughout the show. And on top of that, he has his own restaurant now. His own restaurant. So he has more success in cooking than Rosa does. Although yes, she does make excellent delicious tamales, and she even has her own food truck with tamales as the main dish, I feel that Rosa's entrees are a bit limited by comparison.
I have to say though, me and Lynn opening a restaurant up, and he has all those dishes that he pretty much named in the last few moments of cooked. I kind of really want to see how Lynn Sr. does. Like, his food apparently is good. Like, the whole Loud family really likes it. If that's the case, I do want to see what it means for how good the food is, if we ever taste it, that is.
You know what would be interesting? If we get another Loud House and Casagrande crossover, and then we see Lynn Sr. and Rosa in a cook-off. Like, we've seen a bit of that in Loudest Thanksgiving, but I kind of want to see an episode where Lynn Sr. and Rosa have their own food trucks and they're rivals.
Ooh.
And so...
You know, that'd be awesome. Just because, hey, they did this in Thanksgiving to try to, like, favor each other, which one's the best food. But to have each other have a cook-off, though, in an episode would be pretty interesting.
And then, like, what'd be interesting is that they would try to add some sort of Romeo and Juliet sort of angle to it by having Lori and Bobby assisting Lynn Sr. and Rosa respectively.
Yeah.
Thus kind of like a bit of a strain between them.
Yeah.
Because they're helping their father and grandmother who are rivals, so yeah.
So, here's another question that also got asked. If you were stranded on an island, what's one thing that you would bring? Lincoln said food. How about you?
I'm with Lincoln on this one. I would bring food too. I mean, it would be the very first thing anyone who got stranded on an island would think about. Since in an island, keep in mind, in islands, food is scarce. So, as we all know, food is a necessity to survive and not, well, starve to death. So, yes, food is my answer. Lincoln has the right idea.
Yeah, so I have to agree with that one too. But I was also thinking cell phone as well. But the other thing too is like, yeah, I get it. My cell phone may not even have reception. My cell phone may also die out. So you're just going to be screwed when you're in an island. Food is the one thing that will not go bad if it does not, last a lot of days. But heck, it's something that you will like live on further on until you get rescued, that is.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
yeah, I would say so too. Like, food is actually a reliable source. My friend always says food is important. So
hell, I think the listeners themselves would agree that yes, food is number one priority.
So another question they also asked, what would you miss at Royal Woods? When Lincoln asked Ronnie Ann that, she had her answer. I forgot what her answer was.
It was Flip's Slurpees.
Oh, that's right. Flip Slurpees.
Flip Slurpees.
How about you? What do you are going to miss if you left Royal Woods?
Dairyland.
I have not even heard of Dairyland in so long.
Dairyland. Yes. Oh my god. Like, think of it as some sort of farm-themed Great America. Or farm-themed Disneyland.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You can say it like that.
Sort of like that.
I would love to see Flippy's drinks. I would actually be with Ronnie Ann on that one. Because, heck, you go to Flippy's who, rip you off, but you still go for his drinks. I mean, you had Lincoln and Clyde working to get Flippies, so...
Flip Slippies, yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say Flip Flippies. I was thinking 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I'd rather be with Ronnie Ann on that one and actually go with Flippies if I ever leave Royal Woods, that is.
Yeah, definitely.
There's also one more question that they had to answer, and it actually would be a pretty good question for us to, answer as well. They have birds, obviously. Walt for the Loud House, Sergio for the Casagrandes. Who would you favor in those two?
Definitely Sergio. Because I feel that he stands out as his own character, whereas with Walt, for the most part, he felt like a background character compared to the other Loud pets, and especially to the Louds themselves. And it's not just because Sergio could talk and Walt can't. You see, I feel like Sergio played a bigger role in the Casagrandes than Walt did for the Loud House, and Sergio usually has an integral or big role in some or most of the Casagrandes episodes. Plus, keep in mind, Sergio is actually quite smart for a bird. Take a look at Snack Pact, for example.
God damn, he was like blackmailing them.
Snack
that
Pact.
episode.
Oh my god, he was basically Bird Lola.
Yeah, you're right.
He was Bird Lola.
Yeah,
Snack
okay,
Pact.
so it's pretty much a Taylor's tale of the Casagrandes.
So, sort of like that, except Lola actually made things right.
Yeah. Although Sergio could be like a really annoying bird sometimes. I have to agree with you on that one. Sergio actually is the better, more entertaining bird. Walt is just a bird in the background that usually would have his episode. I mean, he did have an episode about him. Lovebirds.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Loud Pet episodes, I find them to be meh. At least in comparison to the episodes that focus on the humans.
God, Walt was trying to find love here. Yeah, but I understand that too. It was not that great of an episode, but still, it's a good pet episode, considering that it's the pets helping Walt out and giving him, a chance at love.
I felt it was just cute at best.
And then for every episode of Sergio, in every Casagrandes episode, I've just been noticing that he's just been getting funnier and funnier, smarter, like you said. And I feel like that's also a comic relief in the show. So yeah, definitely Sergio was the better bird in this case.
Definitely. Yeah, he has some really funny moments. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that ends our vlog wrap up there. But now let's head over to the biggest news that happened last couple of days, which is the new episode of the Casagrandes called Operation Dad. It's the first episode where Arturo finally came into the city and visited the Casagrandes. But Ronnie had a different perspective in why he's coming. He wants to let him stay in the city and actually, be close to each other and everything. The plans that Ronnie Ann had, she tried to show him around the city, and also there's another thing too where apparently she turned out to be a bad girl and want him to stay because of that. So let's actually discuss this a little bit more. What do you think about the episode?
Overall, I really liked the episode. I of course admired the bond between Ronnie Ann and her father Arturo, as it was the heart of the episode, and it warmed all of our hearts like it was melted ice cream. I do love what they did with Arturo's character in this episode, and the episode finally gave him a main role, whereas in the previous episodes, he only appeared for a minute or two to talk to Ronnie Ann, and that was it. I love that most of the Casagrandes, except Hector, do respect him. Also, Punk Ronnie Ann!
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, and it was so amusing and so creative the way Ronnie Ann tries to display herself as a bad girl to her father. Even though, as we've seen in the Casagrandes, she's anything but a bad girl.
No, she's not.
And like I said, mad props to Arturo. Like, he has my respect in this episode with just how involved he is in Ronnie Ann's life in this episode.
Well, other thing too is that Arturo has been involved with, there's a reason why he's at Peru. He's been saving lives. He's been helping families out there, and you've seen that in the last couple of minutes of the episode. The other thing too is that you never expect to see anything with Arturo. Like, he's been helping with animals mostly. Now he's back home and he's trying to live regular life with the Casagrandes. Maria is another thing that was so shocking. She never met up with Arturo, and she pretty much just left. Arturo's the one who actually stayed in place. And yeah, it was just a pretty interesting episode how it all runs out. Just the fact that Ronnie Ann was very all punky and all look-alike. I just it was really interesting just to say.
It was so funny.
Yeah. I have to say though, overall, really good episode. Arturo made a big impact for the Casagrandes. Apparently, Carlos was a big fan of Arturo in one case, right?
Yeah, he's got a man crush.
He's got a man crush on him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
See, there's a lot of big history with Arturo and the Casagrandes. Why he left, of course, was saddening for the Casagrandes, especially with Frida and Carlos. Apparently, they really like him, so why he left was another thing. Why he's back is another thing. And this is why the Casagrandes get a little bit interesting now that he's back in the show.
What could actually work? Like, I want to see an episode between Arturo and Hector. Since, they're going to be butting heads.
Oh, man, yeah. I want to know.
You just know.
Well, Hector hates him. I don't know. I
can see why.
I have reasoning why. You've had a divorce with my daughter. Come on.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Oh, by the way, I still ship Punk Ronnie Ann and Goth Punk Lincoln.
You do. You mentioned in the last episode. So.
Yes. I ship them more than their normal self.
Okay, so let's talk more about Ronnie Ann in this case. There's one thing I want to point out about Ronnie Ann. It's her desperation to have her dad stay in the city. But he was doing a good job in Peru. You've seen those letters. You've seen how impactful Arturo has been in Peru. Do you think this was kind of out of character with Ronnie Ann, or do you think it was okay for her to do that?
I honestly don't think it's out of character for Ronnie Ann to do it. I actually found it sweet she would want to have her dad by her side and living together. Now, some could say it's petty of Ronnie Ann to feel this way, but honestly, I don't think so. Yes, she's tough, she's independent, and strong-willed. However, she's also a girl with feelings, especially when it comes to her family. She really has strong feelings for them. Plus, keep in mind also that Ronnie Ann is 11. So at that age, any child would want to be close to both parents distance-wise. Why do you think children get scared or sad whenever parents divorce, which, by the way, happened to Arturo and Maria? So Ronnie Ann showing vulnerability is nothing really new. We've seen Ronnie Ann being vulnerable before. And here I feel it's the best case scenario of her showing her vulnerability, in my opinion.
Yeah, so in my case, I thought it was just kind of a little weakness about Ronnie Ann. I understand that she gets a little frustrated that her dad cannot come back. I just feel that it was something that Ronnie Ann was off. But still, like, I understand your reasoning about it. Why Ronnie Ann was, acting like that. How divorced parents, for example. Like, I understand you don't know the full story about, Maria and Arturo. But I understand how Ronnie Ann wants to get her dad back because you haven't seen him in so long. This kind of episode was really touching, especially having Ronnie Ann and Arturo together. But yeah, the ending was also pretty shocking, with Arturo staying in the city instead of actually leaving for Peru, which Ronnie Ann agreed to decide, actually. Because, Ronnie Ann said, hey, you're good to go for Peru, but you decided to come back. Now, the family is back together. How do you think this will turn out for the upcoming episodes of the Casagrandes?
I have to give out my take on the ending. I know it's going to be a controversial opinion, but this is something I have to get off my chest. I honestly felt that Arturo should have stayed in Peru. It would have given a strong moral lesson for kids and for the audience that no matter how far apart your parents may be distance-wise, the love will always be there. And plus, it was clearly established in the episode itself that the sick children of Peru are much more in desperate need of Arturo's help than Ronnie Ann or Bobby, as both of Arturo's children are still doing very well, even without his presence. Mm-hmm. I felt that it was a bit of a rushed deus ex machina, per se, for Arturo to just immediately move in with the Casagrandes. And I also felt that it's also going to be adding a bit of awkwardness to the Casagrandes cast, considering Maria and Arturo are divorced. And though they do get along well, it still doesn't change the fact that it would still add just a tiny bit of awkwardness into the cast, like I said. Now, please, do not get me wrong. I love Ronnie Ann, and I love Arturo, and I love the relationship. The bond was sweet, of course. I do love it. But it's just that I feel that had Arturo stayed in Peru, it would have given Ronnie Ann a strong, mature lesson to learn, as this is something some children of divorced parents need to learn sooner or later. And plus, is it me or do I feel that the ending of this episode was a bit of a recycle from Friended's ending where Sid and her family move in the end?
Yeah, you're right. So, I could definitely see that point there. It feels like it's supposed to be a good ending. Like, you go for the good route instead of the lesson route. I understand that point. Arturo should have been back in Peru. That's what I felt too, because like when I was watching the episode, I was thinking, yeah, he was in tears. He saw the book. He saw the scrapbook, and it looked like he was about to head back to Peru. But then, in a surprising twist, he made it back to the apartment. So it was interesting why he would have to make that change. Now, here's the other thing too. Now that has happened, what's gonna happen next? Maybe some weird, awkward episodes with Maria and Arturo. Maybe some episodes where they try to get back together. Arturo's going to be more of a focus in the Casagrandes now. There's a lot of things to talk about now that he's moved back in. But I understand why the other route, going back to Peru, would be a much more reasonable ending for that episode. Just because Ronnie Ann is something for her to learn.
Yeah, honestly, like this is coming from someone who is a fan of strong writing. So this is just my take on it. But listeners, like, if you feel that this was a good ending, I totally respect that.
Yeah, I'm still saying it's still a pretty good episode. I mean, nothing bad about it. It's just, yeah, the way that it ended may have been a little bit better. But anyways, I mean, I digress. I don't know. That's what they wanted to do. Any other things you want to point out in the episode?
Nothing much, honestly, except, okay, Goth Punk Lincoln and Punk Ronnie Ann OTP.
You just want to keep on emphasizing that.
Well, besides Samuna. Samuna is technically OTP, but they come second.
I gotta say, shout outs to Samir, Casey, and Nikki. We saw them again, only for like a minute.
Yes.
But heck, they're back. At least we know that they're going to be in the Casagrandes. They were in the intro. It isn't until now that they actually premiere an episode, so I'm very happy that they are back. Nikki is awesome.
Yes, and I do like that they do help out Ronnie Ann with her mission, her Operation Dad, per se.
That's how good best friends are. If you were going to rate this episode, how would you give it?
I actually would give it an 8.5. Despite the ending that could have been better handled, I was, for the most part, thoroughly entertained, engaged, and touched by Ronnie Ann's objective to get her father to stay with her family. Also, Punk Ronnie Ann is life.
I would have to give it an 8. Just because, like I said, the writing was okay. I do love every moment of like how the episode was ran. The ending was a little tedious or a little bit nice because it would be cool if he, stayed in Peru. But I digress. They decided to go in this route. Let's see how this Casagrandes next episodes will be. I just feel like there are going to be some really interesting episods with Arturo now. I mean, Arturo and Hector are going to be in an episode maybe.
I love to see that.
Or Arturo and Maria episode. And maybe Ronnie Ann and Bobby try to get involved in something over there.
They try to get them together.
No, yeah. I just feel like from the episode that we saw, it doesn't seem that they're going to be together for a while. Oh, God. All right, cool. So let's actually talk about the next new episodes that are coming out. 2 episodes of the Loud House is coming out on Saturday, and a couple of episodes of the Casagrandes are also coming out. So let's actually go on a little bit here and actually talk about these next couple episodes. So, exchange of heart. Exchange student comes into Clyde's house, and well, the dads are now being more attention to the exchange student. Clyde is just being by himself. What do you feel about the episode?
I actually am a bit curious to see how the relationship between Clyde and the foreign exchange student will play out.
Yeah, just weird how a foreign exchange student is now in the McBride's house. This is more towards a McBride episode, actually, so this is interesting how it's going to run out. So let's head over to our next episode, Community Disservice. I've seen already a lot of the spoilers. We have not seen the episode yet. Or have you seen the episode yet?
I have, but for the sake of not spoiling it, as for this podcast, I'm honestly going to pretend that I haven't.
Okay. So to say the least, that episode apparently has a lot of good positive reviews. A lot of people are loving Lola and the new girl that's there. So it's apparently Lola Loud taking this new girl and making her like a very positive, upcoming fashion, or not fashion,
Social butterfly.
Social butterfly, there you go. So, without spoiling it, what do you think about this episode?
I really loved it. Obviously, like, when I've seen the synopsis of both the episodes, honestly, from the get-go, I was much more excited for Community Disservice, just for the simple fact that I am a Lola Loud fan. She's one of my top 5 favorite characters of the Loud House, so any episode that stars her immediately is going to catch my hype. It's going to catch my attention. And I watched the episode itself. I haven't seen Exchange of Heart yet, but I've seen Community Disservice, and like I said, I really loved it.
So, this is a new Lola Loud episode that we have not seen in quite a while. Like, I don't remember the latest Lola Loud episode. Maybe it was
T-Tail Heart.
T-Tail Heart? Oh, I thought it was Down and Out. See, we have not even caught up with the Lola Loud episodes, but we're having her again. She's apparently have some really good Lola Loud episodes. This one looks to be one that will take the cake, so we'll have to see this Saturday. The Casagrandes have 3 new episodes coming out starting next Monday. First episode is How to Train Your Carl. From the synopsis, it seems that Carl Casagrande was left in the zoo and trying to survive in the zoo. So, how do you think about this episode? How is it going to play out and all?
Okay, I can see a lot of people thinking, oh, How to Train Your Dragon. It's like, no, it's How to Train Your Carl. It's completely different. Calm down, animation fans. Just calm down. Okay, now, I'm actually excited for this episode because I've always wanted to see a Casagrande episode take place in a zoo. And I feel that How to Train Your Carl is the first step up. Like, it's the way to go with this.
You want to love to see? I mean, we talked about this in the last episode, that we needed a zoo episode. Here it is. Let's see more of Sid's mom, because she apparently rules the whole zoo, and hopefully this episode will have more about her. Alright, so the next episode, Flea Market. Lori Loud is actually in this episode. Holy crap.
Yep.
For one thing, I'm a big fan of Lori, and I'm obviously can't wait to see this episode.
Yeah,
but
your favorite Loud is going to be Casagrandes. How do you feel about that?
I'm happy. The other thing, too, is that we had Lincoln already in an episode. Now Lori is in this. We are having a collaboration with the Louds and the Casagrandes. I really can't wait to see how this episode will run. From the synopsis, it seems that Bobby is conflicted between two things. Her anniversary date with Lori and the Mercado. So, this is a conflicting worlds between Bobby here. What do you think this episode will run out?
I honestly do feel like it's going to be Bobby having to choose between the two things that he is passionate about, the two things he loves the most, Mercado and Lori. And I feel that it's going to be an interesting angle that they're going to take with Bobby's dilemma of having to choose between the two things he loves. Like, he's going to try to make time for both, but he's going to see that it's impossible to make time for both. So he's going to go, like, switch back and forth.
That's, I think, what's going to be. But still, you're going to drive 2 hours away, too, for this thing.
Yeah.
Still, though, I'm just happy Lori's back. That's very bad. Lori is going to be in the Casagrandes. Definitely can't wait to see how this episode will run out. Next up is the last episode of the Casagrandes premiere week called Copy Can't. It's the episode where we actually have not seen an episode with the little baby Carlitos. From the synopsis, actually. This is where Ronnie Ann tries her best to be more together with Carlitos. Try to copy him and everything. How do you think this episode will go?
Honestly, it's actually surprising how Carlitos doesn't copy Ronnie Ann as he does the rest of the Casagrandes. And I'm sure there's going to be an explanation why, or maybe since he's just a baby, he doesn't know better, all that stuff. But I feel that it may share similar plot points with changing the baby from the Loud House, where it's going to have, you know how Lincoln molded Lily into a mini version of himself? I think that Ronnie Ann is going to try to do that, and we're going to see if it succeeds or fails.
Interesting how you're thinking about that episode. I just feel like it's an episode where Ronnie Ann tries her best.
Pretty much.
Well, Lincoln did that too in changing the baby, but then he has a lot of sisters that also wanted to change her as well.
Anyone in the mood for peanut butter and sauerkraut sandwich?
Oh god, no, not that. Oh god, we want to see the videos again?
I want to see how it tastes. Like,
everybody said that they hated the peanut butter and sauerkraut, though.
Maybe it's a sample. I don't know.
Okay, well, anyways, that's all of the recent news that we have gotten in the last couple of days. Let's head over to our main subject of the podcast. So, let's talk about the Casagrandes overall. Late last year, the new show has debuted and already been receiving a lot of positive remarks. It has been highly rated by many of our Loud House fans, and almost all of the episodes have been great. Like, literally, I've been watching every episode of the Casagrandes. There have not been one that has been, negative or anything. Maybe Stress Test. But I think every episode I've seen in the Casagrandes have been all good.
I feel that Stress Test is one of the best Casagrandes episodes, but...
You think so? It seemed too quick.
It seems the most relatable. It's one of the most relatable episodes I've seen.
Yeah. For me, it was too quick, and the way they answered Bobby trying to help him with his stress, I don't know. Anyways, Omid, how are you liking the Casagrandes so far?
Oh, I'm absolutely loving the series. It's actually amazing how we are about 10 episodes into the series, and there has not been one dud, like you said.
So, regarding its success, it has surpassed the one thing that most people would agree. Spin-offs usually fail.
Yes.
And it's mostly true, like you said. Omi, can you recall a couple of shows that ended up failing as a spin-off? Do you think most of them were really called for?
Oh, I got a few spin-off shows in mind. Oh, yes. The spin-off shows I'm about to mention, I hate with a passion. Hate them. Cleveland Show, Planet Sheen, and Soul Eater Not. And no, none of them were called for.
You know what? We're going to be in a full discussion of all those shows coming up soon. But Let's actually go back and talk about the Casagrandes. How we got into this spot, how it became so popular. And let's actually start it off with how they got introduced with the first episode of the Casagrandes that they got appeared, which is Relative Chaos. Their first appearance in the Loud House, the whole episode was great, but what happened during the last couple of minutes kind of hinted something, don't you think, Amit?
Yes, it did. So Ronnie Ann decides that she wants to stay in Great Lake City with her extended family. And it's because they set up her own private room for her. Then the entire episode ends with Ronnie Ann breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience, in the same way Lincoln does in the Loud House. Now, the moment I saw that, I was immediately suspecting that Ronnie Ann and her own family would get their own spin-off show. And lo and behold, a few years later, my suspicions were fortunately proven to be correct.
You know, I was actually one of the first people to mention, hey, we should need a spinoff. You can look back at the live stream, you know, when we had with Matthew and Hunter before.
Yes.
We discussed this. We talked about a spinoff series. It wasn't until 2 years later that they made a new show.
And apparently half of us were against it.
Well, I know why. I'm like, why would you not agree with that?
I was like, eat your hearts out, guys.
We're not talking with them anymore, but let's move on to another episode for the Casagrandes, City Slickers. This is the second episode where we see the Casagrandes again. Lori and Lincoln are back in the city. It seems Ronnie and Bobby have pretty much settled into their new city life. Ronnie has new friends. Bobby has a new role in the Mercado. How about the sudden change that you saw with Ronnie and Bobby?
Well, I was thoroughly impressed by how Bobby and Ronnie Ann already settled in their new home so easily. They've adjusted to a new environment that fits both of them, with their new job and friends respectively. This means that Bobby and Ronnie Ann have each found a purpose of their own in Great Lake City. Bobby working at the Mercado passed on by Hector, and Ronnie Ann finding her buddies to skate with, thus honing her skateboarding skills.
To say the least, if you were actually moved into the city, would you have that same adjustment?
Honestly, if I were to move to a new city, it would take a while for me to adjust, no lie, but still, I would try to learn the ropes of how the new city works, what are some great hotspots in said city, and all that stuff.
Some of the other thing too is that you have to meet up with new friends, try to socialize more, try to, see a lot of new communities that's around the city.
It's easy. It's called Meetup.
There you go. And my other thing too is that Ronnie Ann learning and meeting up with all these cool friends, that was so surprising to me. Then again, all these friends that Ronnie Ann has, they're all cool. Samir, Nikki, Casey, all
especially
of them.
Nikki.
I mean, yeah, well, Nikki's you never expected Nikki to be tall. Whatever. Anyways, she's a really awesome girl. Yeah, City Slickers turned out to be a big lesson for Bobby and Ronnie Ann. From that episode too, Bobby became such a big emphasis too, now that he's running the Mercado. Kind of leaving stuff aside, especially Lori, to run the Mercado business-wise.
Yes, and we're going to see how it is a difficult decision that he has made in Flea Market.
Yep, we can't wait for that episode too. All right, so another episode that came in the Loud House, The Spies Who Love Me. This actually was a full first episode of the Casagrandes that we never expected. But all the Casagrandes were there. They're trying to help Ronnie Ann in the city. Of course, Ronnie Ann knows about the city, but of course the family wants to make sure that she's safe. Maybe a little bit too much trying to be safe. What stood out to you from this first Casagrandes episode?
Well, what worked for this episode was how it played out excellently as sort of a teaser episode for the Casagrandes. It was showing us what was to come of this new spin-off show. Also, another thing that really stood out to me was actually Ronnie Ann herself, and how independent and street smart she was in a new big city like Great Lakes. It also showed how while she can take care of herself, her family does mean well, even when they become a bit too concerned and a bit too overprotective of her. And even if their approach to their intentions aren't exactly the best way to go, I mean, they are spying after all. Still, her family does mean well, and her family does really care about Ronnie Ann and vice versa.
My thing is that from this episode, it kind of portrays what a Casagrandes episode would be. Just because Ronnie Ann is the main character, Ronnie Ann is the lead character, knows her stuff, and of course the Casagrandes are also the supporting characters trying to help her out. No doubt about it, it was a really good episode. I gave it a 9 out of 10 the last time I reviewed it. We never expected to see a Casagrandes episode to be so good. Now it made us a little bit more motivated to see if we can see a spin-off show. Little FYI here, they did not announce the spin-off until after this episode.
So... That I want to tell you something,
That's kind of got scripted right there.
That may have been intentional or coincidental, I don't know.
Yeah. And then came the 9-episode arc that was started season 4 of The Loud House. They were all Casagrandes episodes, as these episodes pretty much set up the spin-off show. Some highlights include the introduction of Sid Chang, Bobby's important role in the Mercado, Ronnie Ann now being the main protagonist.
Yes.
And the showcasing of how the Familia works in the Casagrandes. Literally, a lot of people were not okay with that just because, hey, the first 9 episodes of the Casagrandes? Why is it called The Loud House when there's all the episodes of the Casagrandes? But I feel like this is necessary, especially when you have a spinoff show coming up. How about you? How did you feel about the arc?
Yes, I absolutely do agree that it actually was necessary. It was necessary as a build-up to the actual spin-off series. In a way, think of the 9-episode arc as a long prologue to what is to come. Or even better, think of the 9 episodes as separate puzzle pieces that you can put together, and they tell you, here are the Casagrandes. Here are the Casagrande friends. Here is the Casagrande city, which is Great Lakes City. Now, get prepared because you're going to have mucho fun.
Mucho fun indeed. No doubt about it. I mean, the Casagrandes already looked great, but now the build-up comes in. You get to see the neighbors. You get to see Sid Chang. You get to see a lot of emphasis on what is to come for the show. Because when you start the show, already Great Lake City with Carlos X, and it was like, huh? So you really have to watch the Loud House in order for you to get into the Casagrandes.
Carlos X Pro Skater.
Yeah. Okay, you're trying to go to Tony Hawk in this. Yeah, the 9-episode arc was a really fun arc to watch. Some episodes were kind of flat, but still are really good episodes that led into the Casagrandes episodes that we're watching right now. So the whole setup really did work out in the end. We had a successful show that is turning out to be a big hit for the network. You can see it right now. So to say the least, the setup really worked out for the show, making it stand out, having us to believe that they need to have a spin-off show. Don't you agree?
Yes, it's the build-up that really enhanced the idea of the spin-off show, and it played it smoothly. I am very proud that the Loud House had its own spin-off, and it turned out so successful and so amazing the way it did. Unlike some others I will be touching upon right now.
But let's say at least, here's the thing, the lesson to learn here for what happened with the Casagrandes. You need to have a build-up in order for you to have a spin-off show. Now, unfortunately for these shows that we're about to mention right now, they did not do that kind of route. So let's get to it. This is going to be bad. It's going to be a little bit cringy for people because some fans actually do love the shows. And yeah, you probably will not like it. What we're going to say.
Remember, guys, opinions are subjective. We respect your opinions, so respect ours.
Here's the other thing, too. You might all agree with some of our opinions of these kind of shows. But so let's actually get into these spin-off shows that I picked out that we need to talk about because we did not expect to see this. So let's start off with Family Guy. We love the show. I mean, like 1999, 2000s, we love the show. Then it started to have a big decline. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked early Family Guy. As for modern Family Guy, definitely not at all.
Not this year. Yeah. Not for these couple of years. They have been kind of really on the downslope.
They've been on the downslope since season 12.
Now what was not expected was a spin-off show. And it's called The Cleveland Show. Why do we have a Cleveland Show?
I don't know. Can the writers or Seth MacFarlane care to explain?
I mean, if we could ever get him on the podcast, that is. So let's talk about it, shall we?
Okay, Cleveland Show. God, don't make it. don't get me started.
Let's see, already you're getting cringy with this spin-off show.
Okay, for some reason, Cleveland moves out. For some reason, he starts a new family. For some reason, he has his own spin-off show. For some reason. Now, the reason it doesn't work there is because Cleveland having his own show was so abrupt. There was no build-up at all. It was completely forced. There's a discourse, thank you. The reasons why they had to move out of Quahog was so forced.
I have to say, never expected it to happen because the first thing too is that Family Guy was actually doing great with those four. With, Peter, Cleveland, Quagmire, Joe. I mean, all of them were doing great. Now you're letting Cleveland leave. That was just the three of them. And I don't know why. Why would you just take out one of the most entertaining characters in Family Guy and bring him over to a new show? Which was so uncalled for. Like, literally was uncalled for to have Cleveland have his own show. Plus, he's moving into a new city, has a new family, and has a new crew, which has apparently a talking bear, and it's like, I know you're trying to be Family Guy here, but that's not the same. Like,
why are you trying to be Family Guy? You already have Family Guy, and pretty much like even the modern episodes of Family Guy aren't funny to begin with.
Which is weird though, because Fox still renewed the show and had 3 or 4 seasons before it finally killed it. Because, I don't know, it was unbearable. Like, the first episode I saw from Cleveland Show was okay because it's like, okay, we'll see how it all runs out. And then I just started to just not watch it anymore.
And then again went downhill, until it falls down the rabbit hole. Deep in the rabbit hole.
Pretty much. So, I understand why people want to compare the Casagrandes with the Cleveland show, but it's definitely not. Stop the comparisons, please.
Stop.
Because it's not the Cleveland show, okay? Casagrandes is its own little show that really worked out. And we explained our discussions about it. You can head back a couple of minutes and talk and listen to it again.
There is no comparison. If you're comparing the two, you're clearly insulting the Casagrandes, and if you are, you owe the writers of Casagrandes an apology.
All right, cool. Let's just kill the subject of the Cleveland show now.
Let's
actually talk about a show that we didn't expect to have a spinoff, but it was okay of a spinoff. And it's actually a cartoon that you really like, Rugrats.
Yes, it's one of my favorite Nicktoons.
So, yeah, definitely a Nicktoon that we all grew up with. I mean, I grew up with that show, loving Tommy, Chucky, Phil and Lil, Angelica, most definitely because she was the brat of that group.
Yes.
But you never expected to grow up.
Yeah, that's the thing. For some reason, somewhere down the line, in the middle of the Rugrats show, they somehow decided to have an episode where they become preteens for whatever reason. And for some reason, Nickelodeon decided to have a all-grown-up spin-off series.
So, let me backtrack you on that episode, actually. That was actually a good episode. I never expected it. I was a kid. I was like 10 or 11 when I saw it. And I saw that, and I was like, cool. I love seeing them as teenagers. So, I kind of was favoring on that the whole series. But either way, the series was still kind of meh to me.
Yeah, honestly, now, it's not nearly as bad as the previous show we just talked about. But still, I found it to be mediocre.
Okay, so let's talk about All Grown Up. What did you think about this show? I mean, you watched all 2 seasons of that show. Tell me about it.
Like I said, I found it to be quite awkward and mediocre, honestly. It did feel a bit awkward seeing the Rugrats as their preteen selves. Now, what worked about the Rugrats was how the world around them was viewed through a baby's point of view, and how their little adventures were enhanced by how they see the world they live in. Whereas in All Grown Up, they decided to give grown-up Rugrats a slice-of-life show. And believe me, slice of life is not what I think when I think of Rugrats.
So, you're right about that. I definitely did not expect it. The other thing, too, is that when you see All Grown Up, they're all the same from every teenage show that you watch. Like, As Told by Ginger in this case. Like, if you watch As Told by Ginger, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, you know, Ginger being all grown up, you know, as a teenager. You're pretty much watching the same thing in All Grown Up with the Rugrats. It's just the Rugrats being all grown up. It's not the same.
Yeah, like I said, if you want to see a slice of life show where basically a all grown up sort of scenario, like I said, As Told by Ginger is a better version of All Grown Up.
Yeah. Have you actually watched that show, by the way?
I actually have, and I really like it.
Me too.
I actually really love it.
But yeah, I mean, it was uncalled for. Either way, what's kind of weird is that All Grown Up did also air with the Rugrats. They also did premiere new episodes at the same time. So it's like you're trying to hit both audiences at the same time. Like, okay, I was a preteen also at that time, so I would also watch All Grown Up and also watch Rugrats as well.
Well, for me, like, All Grown Up, like I said, it's very mediocre. I honestly would not really watch another episode myself, honestly, because I honestly would rather just watch something I really enjoy. And All Grown Up is something I don't enjoy very much.
All right. So, out of the whole Rugrats perspective, let's head over to another perspective in the Nicktoon era. We love the show Jimmy Neutron.
Yes. It's also one of my favorites.
So, like the movie.
I love the humor.
You love the movie, you love the TV series. The TV series actually was not bad. I really loved it.
Hugh Neutron is God.
God.
Hugh Neutron is God tier
character. Look about every meme about Hugh Neutron now. They bring him up here.
Hey, Jimbo! We're doing a podcast for the LoudCasa Casagrandes show.
Wow, man, I thought you were dead. We all agree that Jimmy Neutron was a really good show and movie. Why would we have a spin-off series of one of the side characters?
Okay, I know I've said that All Grown Up is a mediocre show, but trust me, it is Emmy-worthy compared to Planet Sheen. Emmy-worthy.
Wow, that is such a big step there.
Yes. Oh my god. Planet Sheen is just awful.
Why would we have Planet Sheen?
Like I said, please talk to the writers, please talk to the Nickelodeon staff. I really like to know why it existed in the first place.
Okay, so it was weird how they, decided to kill off Jimmy Neutron for Planet Sheen. I mean, I get it. Sheen is... Well, he's not even a likable character in the show. So why would he even have his own spin-off? Like, he's an annoying nerd, pretty much.
Hey, I actually really enjoyed Sheen in the original Jimmy Neutron series.
Really, you do? I'm not a fan of him. I was not a fan of him. Really?
He's the funniest character. He stands out to me, but that does not mean that it's warranted that he gets his own spin-off show, that he's a main character of his own show. It just doesn't work.
No, but the other thing, too, is, like, it doesn't make any sense what the show was all about. He was in a different planet. He was, like, the superhero of the space world, or being Ultra Lord, whatever.
And it's just that they all of a sudden decided to make a spin-off show about Sheen just because he was a comic relief. And hey, we gotta have a spin-off series of everyone's favorite character.
Not my favorite character. No, and the other thing, too, about Planet Sheen, there are some callbacks to Jimmy Neutron. I mean, Carl Weezer does come into the show sometimes, right?
Yes. You know what? Speaking of Carl Weezer, it's something I want to touch upon later on. Okay. You know what? I might as well get it out my chest.
Yes, let's just discuss more. I was going to say, just go straight to your point about Planet Sheen. I already said my points there. I hate the show. How about you? You hated it to an entirety.
I want to say, first and foremost, the animation looks like plastic. It looks like plastic. It's embarrassing.
You know what? It's the same people who made Jimmy Neutron, so why would you make it look like this now?
But here's the thing. They look so unconvincing compared to its predecessor. And Jimmy Neutron was aired way earlier than this dud of a spin-off series. It's actually really sad when you think about it. Also, Sheen himself in this spin-off has absolutely no charm compared to how much charm he had in the original Jimmy Neutron show. The comedy is very, very weak, and some of the character designs are even rip-offs of the original. Look at that blob, Dobby Dob Weiler.
What the hell's Dobby? I totally forgot who he is.
He's Alien Carl Weezer.
Oh, God.
Alien Carl Weezer, I swear to God.
You know what? I feel bad for the voice actor, though. I mean, we met him over at a con.
I know. Rob Paulson. Like, not only did they steal his character design, like making him a green alien Carl Weezer, but apparently they decided to steal the voice actor as well.
I mean, I don't know. The way I saw Planet Sheen, it seemed like he was supposed to be the Ultra Lord of the world, and apparently has partners, and Carl Weezer being one of them. And apparently one guy with a hood and trying to be evil, like his arch nemesis or something. Yeah, and that Planet Sheen has. I don't recall all of the episodes of Planet Sheen, but I just remember only one episode and I just left.
Oh, and by the way, did I mention that there's an alien girl too? All the Sheen and Libby shippers are gonna have a word on that. They're gonna be pretty mad about that.
What? So Planet Sheen was pretty much a world where the Jimmy Neutron world just never existed?
It's pretty much where the Jimmy Neutron world had no integral role. Like, it never played a role into Sheen's character arc in the spin-off series.
So Sheen is pretty much a new character in a new world, in a new show.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, the reason why Sheen goes to the planet in the first place is so forced and abrupt. Apparently, it's because Sheen was stupid enough to not follow Jimmy Neutron's instruction in the rocket.
Yeah, and that's why he went over the way to whatever this planet is.
I'm like, seriously, Sheen? Okay, I know you're not the brightest bulb, especially compared to your friend Jimmy, but come on, I know you're smarter than that.
Okay, I gotta say this. Planet Sheen, no, let's just kill it at that. It was a terrible show. It only lasted one season. Good, it only lasted one season.
Yeah, the sooner the better. It should have ended in one episode. Forget one season.
You know what? You have to learn from Nickelodeon now, because you know some of these shows that we have on Nickelodeon right now, they only go for like a couple episodes and then leave. Welcome to the Wayne.
Yeah, but then again, I found the show to be just okay.
What? Oh, Welcome to the Wayne? Are you talking about Planet Sheen here?
Oh, you just said Welcome to the Wayne. I'm just like, to be fair, that show is just okay.
Yeah, Welcome to the Wayne was an okay show, but it never, passed whatever was airing in Nickelodeon. Like, it literally left at a cliffhanger unless you have Nicktoons, which I don't have, so...
It's all because of the, oh look, it's Nickelodeon Gravity Falls and all this stuff.
Alright, so we talked about a lot of bad spin-offs, but let's actually talk about a good spin-off. You are an expert in this because you watch Breaking Bad.
Yes.
You love Walter White, you love all the stuff
Breaking Bad. I love everything Breaking Bad. I am a Breaking Bad nut. It's my favorite series.
Just heads up, I haven't seen Breaking Bad, so I don't.
No matter how much I try to get this guy to watch it.
Yo, Mr. White. But they did have a spin-off series called Better Call Saul. I don't know about Breaking Bad. I don't know about Better Call Saul. I think this is more towards your alley. Can you explain me more about Better Call Saul?
Yes. Now, Better Call Saul is a darn good spinoff. Not just darn good, but I felt it's an amazing spinoff. Now, what worked about Better Call Saul was that it stayed true to the spirit of the original series Breaking Bad. It helps that both this and Breaking Bad were created, produced, and directed by Vince Gilligan himself. So you could tell that they both have a Vince Gilligan spark to it. Now, Better Call Saul had the Breaking Bad spirit because much like how Breaking Bad was a dark character study of Walter White and how he became Heisenberg, Better Call Saul itself was a dark character study of Jimmy McGill and how he became Saul Goodman. They share a similar theme, which is moral degradation or moral decay. Both rise to the top through their own cleverness and wits, but at the same time, they both end up having a sense of moral decay. So these shows explore how, while both gain through wit and attention to detail, both of the protagonists also end up losing what they love because of their dirty actions. One thing I have to say, though, is that while I do love Better Call Saul, trust me, I love Better Call Saul, it doesn't quite live up to Breaking Bad for me. Mainly because I feel that Breaking Bad is better constructed. It has a better constructed story. Then again, Breaking Bad is what I claim to be the best series I've ever watched, so even with Better Call Saul, it's tough competition.
I have to say, I still need to watch Breaking Bad. I know it's all on Netflix or Hulu. I don't know where it is on right now.
Both series are on Netflix.
Okay, so I need to check it out. Definitely from your discussion, it makes me want to watch it. All right, cool. Any other spin-off shows you want to bring up? Or is that all we can actually discuss?
Oh, God. Do I really have to talk about this? Okay. Do you or do you not want to talk about total drama wrong?
I would say
the things I do for this podcast.
We'll leave it at that. We'll not talk about total drama because it seems like this guy already has a lot of hate towards total drama here.
I'm just really annoyed by baby spin-off shows in general. Can we just stop the trend?
Okay, it's happening. Apparently it's still popular in Cartoon Network. What can you do?
Bring back the original.
Alright, so overall, we can learn how to successfully make a spin-off series successful. If we start setting people up with what the show will have for a successor, then it gets more meaning for that said show to have a spin-off series. That's what happened with the Casagrandes after being introduced within the Loud House and having its time in the show to set up what we have now, a really good show with the Casagrandes. Ronnie Ann and her familia now living in Great Lake City, showing the audience how it is to live in the city as a Latino family.
Yes, I do agree. And like I said, the Casagrandes is a breath of fresh air just by how, in terms of the quality of the writing, the story, the characters, and how fun the show is. It's just as amazing as the Loud House. It's not better than Loud House. It's not worse than the Loud House. It's just as amazing.
Oh, let's have one little tidbit here. How excited are you for Camp Coral?
No. No, we're done. We're done. Okay. We're not touching that.
No more spin-offs for me tonight. He already got his
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. No, sir.
Okay, he's already got his anchor here. Anyway, so that pretty much ends our LoudCasa podcast episode. Yeah. Definitely a lot to talk about, especially knowing that the Casagrandes became a big, huge spin-off show for Nickelodeon.
Yep. Hey, we have some positives to say. We have some negatives to say. So it was really fun and interesting podcast, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, glad to have your little insights on some of the spin-offs that came out on TV.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Yeah. So just a little heads up, a reminder that the LoudCasa Talks podcast is now available for you to listen. You can listen on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you can listen to podcasts. Of course, we're open to suggestions of what we should talk about. So if you do have an idea about or something that you will want us to talk about, please message us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we may talk about it in the next upcoming episode. I also do want to let you guys know that we also do have sponsors now. If you want to support our podcast, please head over to our Anchor site and click the support button. And for a monthly donation, you can be able to help support us in our next upcoming projects. We do want to bring contests back and giveaways. So for those who are listening into our podcast, like a $1 or $5 donation will help out. And you could probably give us, a chance to give you guys some stuff. We also do give shout outs for people out there, who actually donate.
Every little bit helps, guys.
Yes.
Every little bit helps.
So, next week is Super Bowl week. I am totally excited.
Oh, man.
It's Super Bowl
Here it
time.
comes.
I'm going to be a huge Lin Loud fan.
The Loudest Yard. We're going to watch The Loudest Yard and Good Sports.
Yes. And speaking of good sports, actually, we actually love the episode Good Sports.
Yes. And you know why? Because it totally relates to us.
Yes. So in our next podcast, since we're going to be in a very sporty mood, we're going to be talking about Good Sports. We're going to talk about how it relates to us being, I'll be Mr. Grouse, you be Lynn Jr. in this case.
Go Volcanoes!
And how it relates to us being sport fans. And I know some of you guys are probably sports fans out there. You may not know what we're going to be talking about, but heck, let's just have a little emphasis on the people who actually like sports and, have a little discussion on how Good Sports really did relate to us, quite a bit.
Yes. So any sports fans, just come on in and just let out your inner Lynn or Loud. Let out your Linsanity.
All right, so that'll be it for now, actually. Until next week, my name is Nate.
And this is Omid.
Signing off on the LoudCasa Talks. We'll see you next week.
Peace out, guys.